From Shawnee, Oklahoma, this is Midwest Sports Saturday. Good morning, I'm Joey McWilliams. Glad to be with you today. We are on the campus of Oklahoma Baptist University, and, well, you know, it's a little bit of a chilly day today. I have said repeatedly throughout this new 2019 season, I guess it's not that new anymore, that it's a beautiful day. Well, it is a beautiful day, and it's a little bit colder. And actually, I'm fine with that because I believe that when I got here this morning and started setting up here on the campus of Oklahoma Baptist University, it was about 50 degrees cooler than it was 2 weeks ago in Russellville. So I will take that just about any time. I am seated right now and privileged and honored to be seated next to Todd Miller, the play-by-play announcer for the Oklahoma Baptist Bison here on Midwest Sports Saturday, which is presented today by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And Todd, thank you, sir.
Great to see you, Joey.
I'm glad to be here.
We could have arranged this a lot sooner. I didn't know all you had to do was ask, and like 3 weeks later you'd be here on campus. Good to have you here today.
Todd asked, and I do want to talk about that, said, when are you going to come to Shawnee? And I thought, well, I don't know when I'm going to get to come to Shawnee. Well, it works out really well to get to be here today. And, you know, we have a good football game, too, that brings us here. I want to be able to get to that point, too, where you say, hey, listen, we have two very good teams. That's where we need to be this weekend, and so that's where we are. It is the Harding Bisons on the road today taking on the Oklahoma Baptist Bison. So grammar aside, pick one, whichever one's the best one.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works. All right, we'll take that. All right, Todd, first off, I want to say thanks for coming on. And you have the show Vibeland. Is that correct?
Vibeland Sports.
Vibeland Sports, and it – talk about what Vibeland Sports is before we get into football.
Vibeland Sports is actually a sports podcast that a friend of mine who actually I'd worked with for a couple of years here, my first 2 years on Bison Hill, he and I decided to put a podcast together, Cassidy Fletcher. And we've done it now for about a full year. It's taking off. We've had some great guests. By the way, thank you again for coming on. You were outstanding. We've had a lot of fun doing it, talking sports. Sometimes we make sense, sometimes we don't, but I guess that's called the broadcasting business, right?
No doubt. And you know you're live.
Exactly.
Just know when you're live, and always assume the mic is hot. Is that correct?
At Vibeland Sports on Twitter, if you'd like to follow us, you can subscribe Apple Podcast and Spotify. So give us a listen. You can go back to the archives and hear our good friend Joey from a couple of weeks ago.
I was happy and honored, and again, privileged to get to be there. Well, you know, we get to talk some football today, and that is so much fun. And we are right here in the middle of the season, at the midpoint, actually.
Can you believe that?
It's surprising.
I can't believe how fast this season's
It
gone.
really has. And I think part of that is because we're getting older. That sometimes
my dad used to always tell me that when I was a kid, and it felt like the school weeks went slower and slower. He said, son, one of these days, the older you get, the faster time flies. And I thought, that's just your excuse for being old. Once more,
no.
Dad knew what he was talking about.
Dad did, and I had a dad who knew what he was talking about. Okay, you know, Oklahoma Baptist, since making the transition to Division II a few years back, and realistically, I mean, this is a football program that is relatively new anyway, a 73-year hiatus from football. And then you get things started again, I believe it was 2013. Is that correct? I was actually up here on the field covering that very first game, that very first day. You all were in the NAIA at that point in time. And then there was talk, of course, making the transition to Division II, being a part of the Great American Conference. The transition was made. It's been a challenge, I believe, to say the least, to get that program going into D2, but it seems to be taking hold.
You know, I don't know how you want to transition from NAI to D2. I don't know if you want to do it after a long, successful run like so many programs have done, or if you want to do it after just 2 years like Oklahoma Baptist has done. To me, that seems like a daunting task, building a program and then 2 years later playing against established programs that are very, very good, that have had the advantage of getting the traction, if you will, in Division II football. And that's what Oklahoma Baptist faced. I think what you're seeing now, though, is they've had 4 recruiting classes as a D2 school. And you're starting to see more depth, especially along the defensive front and the offensive line. So I think they're getting there, but patience certainly has been key around here.
You know, this is an athletic program on the whole that has just been stellar for years and decades. Really, and that's not an exaggeration. Basketball, winning year in and year out. A baseball program that under Coach Cox never had a losing season.
That's remarkable.
Which is just incredible. And every time I say it, I have to catch myself before I say it. Am I giving the right information out here? But didn't have a losing season. And winning the last 3 years in the NAI, winning the Learfield Directors Cup All Sports Trophy. So, I mean, you're used to winning around here. It is a culture, and it is taking hold in the football program as well.
It certainly is, and last year's 5-6 record, winning all the games against their in-state competition from Oklahoma, I think really started to give this program the traction and the confidence going forward that it needed. But yeah, you're right. This is a program that only 3 or 4 years now into members of the Great American Conference, Joey, has finished second and I believe third in the All Sports Cup standings in this league. So yeah, they do. They take their athletics seriously here. It begins with leadership. They have great leadership and tradition as well.
Can we drop Robert Davenport's name? Can we do that?
We can.
Athletic director here
Probably
at Oklahoma Baptist.
hurt.
It probably, I mean, we're sitting here, so we need to do that. Athletic director here at Oklahoma Baptist. And you're right, he does a fantastic job. He brings in the right people and, again, continues that culture of winning.
He has. I mean, he's an OBU guy. He's coached here. He knows what it takes to win here. And he knows the expectations of the basketball program and all the programs in general here of success. And you're right, he's done a great job leading this program.
Todd, as we talk about football here on the Midwest Sports Saturday broadcast today, presented by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, let's talk about then. I believe this offense is a high-powered offense, and what it can do on the field, it starts with Preston Hare.
Preston Hare, in my opinion, and of course I'm biased, I'm sure, but I don't think that makes me wrong necessarily.
Right.
He's the best quarterback in the conference, and I think he's one of the best at the Division II level. And the thing that I like best about Preston, Joey, is not only is he a terrific athlete, great quarterback, great leader, he's a better person off the field. He and his wife, Emily, are expecting their first baby.
Nice.
There was some speculation it might happen this week, but more than likely it's going to happen next week. But, I mean, he will be a terrific father. He's good at everything he does. But his decision-making this year, I think, is what set him apart from the 2 previous years. His interceptions are down. He's thrown 3 interceptions. That's been a big problem his first 2 years as a starter. And I think his running ability now is even better than it was the first 2 years. He's always been a great scrambler. He's just taken off. He's been the Bison's leading rusher this season. I'll give you an example. Last week at Arkansas Tech, third and about 4 or 5 late in the ball game. First down, ices the game away. And he goes right up the middle, 84 yards for a touchdown.
Yes.
So his decision-making and his ability not only to beat you with his mind and his arm, but his legs is what makes him such a special player.
He can run the ball. He can throw the ball well, too, though. Has some good receivers.
He has some really good receivers. I for one, a little bit concerned last year losing Cagney Robertson. Noah McGraw's kind of slid over, and he's been really quiet this year. He's less than 10 yards away from becoming the 4th receiver since the reboot of football in Bison Hill to amass 1,000 receiving yards. He's been held in check somewhat, but across from him has been Josh Cordell. His older brother Brian was a 3-year starter at right tackle for us. And Josh, if he's not the best receiver in the conference, he's one of the top 2 or 3. I mean, he's a great route runner. He's very, very intelligent as a football player, and he's a terrific athlete. He's going to have an outside chance this year if things continue to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I mean, he has had just a phenomenal season to this point. But like all the rest of the offense, they're going to get challenged today and certainly next week at Washington. Well,
that is true, and this is a very, very stingy Harding defense, number 1 in Division II in scoring defense, and actually the number of points per game that the defense has given up has actually gone down from the previous week to this week. 6.4. It's amazing to think you're giving up really less than a touchdown a game. Talk about one more player then, Isaiah Mallory, then can carry the ball well too to hopefully open things up for Hare.
A couple of weeks ago when we hosted East Central here, Isaiah had his first 100-yard rushing game of the season. And in that game, I thought he looked more like the old Isaiah Mallory than at any point this season. Last year he was on track to have a great senior season, hurt his knee in fall practice. Fortunately for the Bison, fortunately for Isaiah, he had a redshirt year left. So he rehabs, he works his tail off, he gets back into the lineup, and the sledding has been a little bit tough for him on the ground early going, but he got back on track against East Central 2 weeks ago, and you're right, he's going to have success, Joey, today, some way, somehow. Tyler Stever's going to have some success some way, somehow on the ground for OBU to have a chance to knock off a nationally ranked team.
Speaking now with Todd Miller, the play-by-play announcer for the Oklahoma Baptist Bison, longtime voice of sports all around. Spent a number of years in Northwestern, and also then a long-time resident here, or maybe not resident, but resident of this stomping grounds and taking care of business here for Oklahoma Baptist. When we talk about Harding's defense, well, they have an offense, too, that can put some boards and can always be powerful. And one of the things about the Harding offense, and it's unfortunate we don't get to visit with your counterpart, Billy Morgan, today, because I know he likes to talk about what this option can do and what the offense can do. But the defense for Oklahoma Baptist has its hands full today, too.
They really do. And the thing about Harding's offense, you're pretty much going to know what they do. It's just a matter of being able to stop them, but it's not stopping them in a series or two series. It's all afternoon long, because you can slow them down for 2, 3, 8 plays in a row. But then that 9th play is when they figure out and they're going to gash you. And while they don't throw the football very well, just 13 attempts all year,
yes,
they can catch you napping. And the last 2 times we played Harding, that's exactly what they've done. They've hit us through the air for a big pass play. And it's because you get so concentrated on that flex bone offense and trying to key everything against the run.
Who does Oklahoma Baptist then step up with, and who do you expect to have a good day today and need to have a good day from?
Well, I think Torian Smith up front needs to have a big day today. It would certainly help to have Robert Lolafia. He's out for a 3rd consecutive game with a tear near his shoulder area. Fortunately, we were able to get 2 wins without him. That was a significant loss up front. I think Josh Arnold, Lane Martin at linebacker is going to have big days. Josh had a terrific game last week in Russellville, finished with 17 tackles, was the defensive player of the week in the league. I think those are guys you're going to have to see. And then the secondary is going to have to be solid. They have had, I think they're better, but they have had times that, they've had breakdowns, and those breakdowns have enabled the opposing offenses to put up some big numbers. I will say this. OBU's defense is a lot better than it's been, and there's several reasons why. One is there's more depth. 2, they're finally getting more pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They already have 6 sacks. They had 6 all of last year. And because they're able to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks, they're forcing turnovers. Now, they haven't forced turnovers the last 2 weeks, but at one point they were +4 in turnover margin. They're now +2. I point that out because in the 2 prior seasons, they were a combined -26 in turnover margin. That's tough, man. That's tough. But I think
it's tough to win ball games.
It is tough, and that's why success at times has been limited. But because they're able to get more pressure up the middle, I think that's enabled the linebackers and the secondary to make some key stops defensively.
All right. Well, Todd, then, as we look ahead, and looking right now, we're roughly an hour and 40 minutes from kickoff here in Shawnee. 2 things I wanted to get your opinion on. Number 1, prediction for today.
Well, that's tough. I mean, everybody would say Harding. I like OBU's chances. I really do, if they can force a couple of turnovers and don't make mistakes themselves, because Harding is such a good football team that if you make mistakes, they're going to make you pay for it. OBU is going to have to play not a perfect football game, but they're going to have to play very, very well to win. I think this team, more so than any of the prior 4 years, is more equipped to win a game against a nationally ranked opponent for some of the reasons as to what I've talked about. They're more veteran. They have better depth. They're playing with confidence. They're 3-2 through 5 games. That's their best 5-game start since entering the Great American Conference. Right. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma Baptist at home, but again, it's going to have to be a near perfect game to beat Paul Simmons.
High scoring or low scoring in that sense?
I think, Joey, for OBU to win it, they're going to have to score in the 30s, and that's why I wonder, because Harding just has not given up points. I don't know that they can win a 14-13 ball game. We'll see.
All right. Okay, then the second thing I want to get your opinion on, because where we are right now, and of course MidwestSports.net is covering small college and high school sports, mainly small college in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, and Iowa. But we're in Oklahoma right now, and it's a big day in the state of Oklahoma if you're a football fan, although the game is taking place in Dallas at the State Fair of Texas. It's OU Texas Day, not to be confused with Texas OU Day, because I don't think that's a real thing. But it's OU Texas Day. I know that this is not lost on you.
It's close to a national holiday in 2 states. Is that fair to say?
That is true. I know that that's not lost on you today. Now, that's D1, and we usually talk a lot of small college here, but hey, this is a big game across the river.
It is a huge game. You know, Texas says they're back. I guess we'll find out if they're back. We'll find out how good OU's defense is. I think they're a lot better than they've been in the past. But this is going to be their first real challenge today. So I like the Sooners to win it, but I don't know that I like the spread per se. I think 10.5 points is a lot.
That is a lot.
It's a lot in that game. But that's one thing that worries me about crowd today here. I mean, it's a little bit cool, although I think this is great fall weather. But you have that game going on that kicked actually 2 hours before we're going to kick here. So
right.
I hope fans will maybe watch part of that and come out here and cheer on the Bison, because this is a huge, huge opportunity for them. And next week is a huge opportunity as well. I mean, not only to win, but to compete now against 2 teams that clearly have separated themselves, Joey, from everybody else in the league.
That is true. And that game actually is going on right now. We hope that you continue to watch us, or, have the sound sound up going somewhere else, but continue to watch us here. Yeah, that game is going on right now. I agree with you, and I would say this, too, to anybody watching or thinking about coming out to a game. This is a 1 o'clock start. There are many 2 o'clock starts within the Great American Conference and throughout Division II and NAI today as we've moved into the month of October. Man, you're not going to sweat anywhere nearly as badly as you would, even just last week. And by the time kickoff comes around here, and I realize for some of you watching us, this doesn't apply to those of you in Iowa and North Nebraska right now, because you're getting weather all of your own. But it's supposed to be in the
their sweating season in a long time ago.
No, but there are storms and actually a couple of the teams within the Midwest Sports.net footprint games are being postponed till Sunday to get past the weather. It's going to be high 50s, low 60s today at kickoff.
Great
Beautiful day to come out to Bison Hill and watch a game.
Golly, can you believe it's already that severe of winter weather up there that they're having to postpone games?
I know.
This is early. We were talking before we came on. I live in Edmond. You live in Durant. It's this far south to have even a light freeze like we had last
yes.
night. Pretty early for that. So
we did, but it's nice that it's here, and I'll take that, and I'll take maybe mowing one more time, and that's it.
You're not excited about football yet. You should be now, because this feels like football.
It is football weather today. Todd Miller, thank you so much, sir.
Good to see you, Joey.
Anytime that I can come on with you, I would be honored to do it. Thank you so much for coming on with me today.
Likewise. Welcome to Bison Hill. We're glad to have you, my friend.
Glad to be back. That is Todd Miller, and do want to say thanks to the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma as that is our exclusive sponsor today. Thank you to you all for all that you do, and let's hear just a word from them for a moment.
I really believe, and we have.
Thank you. Okay, see you tomorrow. Hey. Mom, let me help here. You got this. You're ready.
Well, you may have heard in the background there, we do have an update from the OU Texas football game, the Red River Rivalry, which is taking place in Dallas, the State Fair of Texas today. And in the first quarter, it is OU 7, Texas nothing. And for OU fans, and I've lived in the state of Oklahoma for a long time, and I know you're from Oklahoma.
Yes, sir.
That's the way the score ought to be.
Yes, definitely.
I am visited right now by Brantley Thompson, who plays for the Oklahoma Baptist University Bison basketball team, a junior for the Bison this year. And, again, where we are right now with Bisons and Bison about to play behind us.
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying it the proper way for you all.
Yeah, right.
It is the Bison.
Right, Bison.
Now, real quickly, while we were talking OU Texas with Todd Miller just a moment ago here on Midwest Sports Saturday, presented by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and He gave his pick. He thinks OU should win. You're from Tuttle.
Right.
Has anybody from Tuttle ever played at OU?
Yeah. The 2003 Heisman Trophy winner. I was actually looking at that. We have it on our water tower going out of Tuttle, America.
Okay. I wanted to give you that opportunity to say that, promote the hometown a little bit, and talk about that. Jason White, in case you did not know, a player from Tuttle, America, that won the Heisman in his tenure at OU. Man, it goes back a few years, though. How old were you?
4 years old at that time.
Wow.
But I knew of him.
Okay. Well, I would imagine everybody in Tuttle at that point would have.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk some basketball really quickly. I know there's football going on behind, or about to be going on behind me, but I'm very pleased to get to have one of the athletes here at Oklahoma Baptist joining me here on Midwest Sports Saturday today. You guys have really made some improvements. I know your first year here on campus, your freshman year, record not what you would want it to be.
Right.
Down there a little bit. We won't even go in there. We'll go into the sophomore year coming along a little bit later on. You all finished third in the GAC last season. I believe 14-8.
Yes, sir.
In the GAC, and that's quite an improvement. Talk about the improvement from one year to the next.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously our freshman year didn't go as planned, but we definitely got more competitive from the year before that. So it's kind of been an uphill build-up for the program. With the addition of Coach Aker coming in, bringing him new staff, new players, the addition of all the new players and new talent, and building up our teamwork and our team unity really helped us out throughout the year. A group of great guys, great teammates, and helped us out a lot. So.
Talk about playing them for Coach Aker as he comes in his second season this year, and I like following him on social media. He's not afraid to get out there on social media and have some fun too. So he's fun to get to follow. But playing for him here in Shawnee,
it's amazing. Coach Aker's a great guy. He's a great coach. No one else I'd rather play for. He gets onto us. He drives us. He motivates us more than any coach I've ever had. And he's just awesome. He's a great coach to play for. And when he's for you, there's no one else you want behind you. So,
well, that's the way a coach ought to be too.
Right.
Someone that's going to have your back.
Exactly.
And, on the court and off the court as well.
Exactly.
Staying with on the court now as we visit now with Brantley Thompson from Oklahoma Baptist, and again a Tuttle native as well, as we drop that in there a few more times. Hopefully make the folks from Tuttle happy. You need to be watching Midwest Sports Saturday. But when we look forward to OBU playing this season, and the preseason poll in the Great American Conference not out yet, I would suspect after finishing third last season, it is likely you'll be in the upper half of that poll. And polls, they are what they are. I mean, they may or may not mean anything at all. But what do you expect to see from this team this year as you all continue to grow?
Honestly, I think that I'm confident that we'll have a chance to make it to the conference tournament for sure, and hopefully to the national tournament, because we have a bunch of great new guys coming in to fill spots from our seniors last year. People like Jock and Jaquan coming in, going to have great impact on the team, and we're gonna do great in my opinion. So
that sounds like some team goals then, to be able to not only make it to the conference tournament, to do well in the conference tournament, and then be playing in the postseason beyond just the GAC tournament.
Right.
And by the way, this is a conference too, with 12 teams now. Started off with 9 teams. Of course, Oklahoma Baptist, the 12th team, the final piece to the puzzle, making it into the GAC as a league, as you all made that transition to Division II. And Todd and I were talking about that a little bit earlier. But it's a conference really that has grown, and had actually in last year's NCAA tournament not only the automatic bid but an at-large as well, and both teams come away with the win there in the first round though. So if you can just get into that conference tournament, make some noise there's likelihood you can go ahead, win or lose the GAC postseason tournament, and move on to the NCAA.
Right, and that's super exciting. So hopefully we get there.
You talked about team goals. What are some of your individual goals for this year?
I try not to focus too much on myself. Obviously, I want to perform well. I want to do what's the best for the team. But all conference
pushing for that. That's all right. That's all right.
Right.
Well, it is all about the team. It's all about
Right.
at the end of the day. It's all about the W. We
Yeah.
know that, but
Yeah.
things that drive you.
I'm just motivated by winning. So to be honest, my individuals would to be it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right.
So.
Brantley Thompson from Oklahoma Baptist,
Thank
the
you very
Bison,
much.
a junior on this team coming up. We'll see. I know that the preseason polls coming up very soon, and we'll see where the coaches feel like the Bison may wind up this year, but it all depends on how you play on the court. So thank you very much,
Yeah,
Brantley,
thank
for
you,
stopping
thank
by. Midwest Sports Saturday, and not just Oklahoma Baptist. Midwest Sports Saturday is presented by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, and we appreciate that sponsorship.
Thank you. Okay, see you tomorrow. Hey. Mom, the mail's here. Accepted. You got this. You're ready.
Back here at Shawnee on Midwest Sports Saturday. Good morning again. I'm Joey McWilliams. Thanks for watching. As it is a nice day, a beautiful day here. We're getting ready for the Harding Bisons and the Oklahoma Baptist Bison to take to the field. And a little bit different setup here, so we're working with two computers this morning, but that's all right. Keep that going here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of the broadcast. Please be sure and subscribe to this YouTube channel. It is Midwest Sports Saturday, and would just love to have you as a part of the broadcast. Click that notifications. And the main thing, our flagship show, of course, Midwest Sports Saturday, is presented today by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. We've been talking Division II football, so let's talk D2 football just a little bit more here. 5 weeks into the D2 schedule, and only 20 teams remain undefeated. Now, of those 20 teams, 5 of them fall within our MidwestSports.net area. Central Missouri, Pitt State, Northwest Missouri, Ouachita, and Truman, all undefeated on the season. Let's look at a couple of the matchups that are going to be taking place today. Ouachita at East Central. Ouachita tied for 5th in the AFCA Division II poll, and, of course, the Tigers just really haven't dropped stride since last season, cruising through the Great American Conference, 5-0 in league play, and, of course, overall record of 5-0 too. Tops in Division II in third down conversion. Why is that an important stat? You just keep moving the ball. They just keep moving the ball, keep moving the ball. 59.7% third down conversion for the Tigers this year. Among other ranked teams, again, within the MidwestSports.net area, biggest matchup of the day has to be this one. Northwest Missouri, number 7, playing host to number 13, Pitt State. Pitt State 5-0 on the year. Quarterback Mac Sexton, part of a multi-quarterback lineup going on right now, completing 74.3% of his passes for 752 yards and 6 touchdowns, and he's doing that while splitting time. Well, meanwhile, sophomore quarterback Braden Wright continues to tear things up. Bearcats, a big matchup today, a pair of 5-0 teams. One team will pick up its first loss of the year. This is going on today at Northwest Missouri in Maryville, Missouri. Number 22, Harding here, about to take place behind us, taking on Oklahoma Baptist. Harding, 4-1 on the year. Total defense, leading Division II, giving up 196.8 yards per game of offense from its opponents. The only team in Division II that is giving up less than 200 yards of total offense. And as Todd Miller and I mentioned a little while ago, just 6.4 points per game allowed. That is also tops in Division II, giving up only 117.6 yards per game as well. So a very, very solid defense from the Bisons but they can score as well, and we'll see that how that turns out for one or the other of these teams. As Todd mentioned, Oklahoma Baptist may have to play the perfect game to come away with a win in this one. It is Central Oklahoma at number 15, Central Missouri today. UCM 5-0 on the year, 587.6 yards of total offense. That leads Division II. It's interesting. No wonder some of these teams are ranked so highly in these polls, because they're ranked, or they find themselves so high in some of these categories. Harding on defense, Central Missouri on offense, 342.6 passing yards per game. That is good enough for number 2 in Division II. Brooke Bowles, the senior, having a great year for the Mules, also putting up 55.6 points per game. When you can do that, you can win ball games. The Mules have a good defense as well. One of the things about Central Oklahoma that stands out to me is that they play clean football for Coach Nick Bobeck, as the Broncos have been penalized just 3.8 times per game. That is good enough for number 2 in Division II. It is number 24, Truman. The Bulldogs are ranked this week, and Truman on the road at Lindenwood. Truman, if you're going to score, and the Bulldogs have been able to score this year, if you're going to score, it helps when you get the ball in good field position. And they lead Division II with 39.6 yards per kickoff return. They wind up near midfield just about every time that their opponents kick off to them. Oh, and by the way, it's good to have that great defense as well. Harding giving up just 6.4 points per game. Truman, the Bulldogs, giving up just 9.4 points per game. That is third in Division II. Also in Division II, Arkansas Tech at Southern Nazarene. And someone needs to come away with a big win here today. The Crimson Storm from Southern Nazarene, 1-4 on the year. Arkansas Tech, 0-5. Monticello at Southeastern today in Durant. It is Henderson State taking on Southwestern Oklahoma today. Henderson State trying to match its win total from all of last year. We were in Arkadelphia last week for Midwest Sports Saturday. Great visit down there. Good visit with Kevin Rogers as well. Nice to get to visit with him. Well, the Reddies are 4-1 after a blowout win over Northwestern, 47-7. The final there. Richard Stametti has 1,337 passing yards on the year. That's second in the GAC. Henderson State with a win would go to 5-1, and that would match their 5-6 record from last year. Don't forget about Elliott Curry, averaging more than 100 receiving yards per game. Pair of good receivers in this contest. Curry has 6 receiving TDs on the year. For Southwestern, it's Jared Rayburn, who's had back-to-back games with 100 yards receiving. Southern Arkansas taking on Northwestern Oklahoma today. It's Upper Iowa at Mary today. Upper Iowa, 0-5, trying to get in the win column for the first time this year. Mary is 0-5 also. So someone, the Marauders, the Peacocks, someone's going to come away with their first victory today and do so in very, very cold weather. Emporia State at Fort Hays State today. Washburn at Northeastern State. It's Adams State at Chadron State. Kearney at Lincoln today. Wayne State at Minnesota Duluth. And Missouri S&T. The Miners are at Texas Southern, taking on an FCS school today. Missouri S&T, 128 first downs on the year through 5 games. Missouri Southern taking on Missouri Western today. And Missouri Western, the Griffins, are doing well, 3-2. And they've won in this series the last 6 times. Now, they've taken a 27-22 lead overall, so we're trailing in this series, but 6 consecutive wins for Missouri Western. And taking on the Lions at home today, a very good opportunity then for the Griffins as well. It's William Jewell taking on Southwest Baptist. Yes, we have said that before here. This is the second time this year that the Cardinals and the Bearcats have met one another. William Jewell, the only win of the season, took place back in the season opener when William Jewell beat Southwest Baptist. Well, 29-9 in the season opener. Southwest Baptist now 2-3 on the year with a pair of victories. They meet again today, 2 teams from the GLVC. So that is a look at your Division II football schedule for the morning and into the afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit more here in just a moment at Oklahoma Baptist, but one of the things we did want to look at is that we talked about the fact some of the preseason polls have already come out. The MIAA basketball media poll has come out, and coaches' polls come out as well. Lots of good athletics and things going on in the MIAA. We'll get to hear from Commissioner Mike Gracie prior to the media day back on Wednesday. And as you might imagine, Commissioner Racy is very pleased with his conference.
Founded in 1912, the MIAA continues to be one of the most successful athletic conferences in all of college sports. During the past 3 years, the MIAA has won 11 team national championships in 8 different sports by 6 different schools. Student athletes on MIAA campuses graduate at a rate higher than the general student body, and student athletes on MIAA campuses outpace every other student group organization in the total number of service hours and volunteer hours in the community. We are living out the balanced Division II student-athlete experience on every one of our MIAA campuses. A look back at last year's basketball season, MIAA men's and women's basketball programs once again led all of Division II in attendance. And for both men's and women's basketball, that's 11 consecutive years that the MIAA has led the country in attendance. Last season, Northwest Missouri State capped a perfect season by cutting down the nets after winning another NCAA basketball championship. It was the MIAA's 6th NCAA basketball championship in the last 14 years. Washburn women in 2005, the Emporia women in 2011, UCM men in 14, the UCM women in 2018, and the Northwest Missouri State men in 2017 and 2019. Last year, we had 230 MIAA men's and women's basketball student athletes on the conference honor roll, and we had 3 basketball academic All-Americans.
Commissioner Racy, as he mentioned, 11 national championships in recent years. What a fantastic job the conference is doing there. One of those teams that won a national championship quite recently, how about just a few months ago, as the Northwest Missouri Bearcats took the title for the second time in 3 years. Got a chance to hear from Coach McCullum on his outlook on this season.
Last season was obviously a fun one. We've got quite a bit returning for this upcoming year. It doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know, part of that is you got to create some hunger that's not naturally there. That'll be our most difficult challenge, is making sure that we find that hunger to want to perform and want to be successful again. And so far, so good. We've had a good preseason. Just need to keep it going from here on out.
And if you are going to keep that kind of momentum going and really find a way to continue to motivate those teams, Coach McCullum took it a step farther and explained how he might go about that.
I think the big thing is with the just after the first one and then, you know, we won the second one, you get done and you win it and it's exciting, but it's not what you would think that it would feel like. The process of getting there is the fun piece that you remember. You know, all the memories of working hard and competing and all those different things. And so I think if we keep our attention on that process, I think that hopefully that'll maintain some of that hunger that we desperately need throughout the season. The other part of that is making sure that things continue to be fun. I think when you win one, you naturally put pressure on yourself to go back to that. Well, go back to what? You know, it's the moment, it's present, it's process, and we'll hopefully keep our attention on that.
So the Northwest Bearcats, of course, picked at the top of the MIAA again this year, and I don't see any reason why they would not be. This is a team that swept through the entire season, completed the undefeated season, got the national championship, and will continue following them. Right now, though, we are here at Shawnee on the campus of Oklahoma Baptist University for Midwest Sports Saturday, which is presented today by the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. And I am joined by the Assistant Athletic Director for Strategic Communications, James Hill. James, God bless you, sir. Thank you for taking time to sit in and visit a little bit this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Big day here on Bison Hill. We've got a lot of.
I was
going
going
to
to say, it's not like you're not doing anything today.
No, not at all. We had cross country.
Take us through the day.
Yeah, we had cross country lead us off this morning at 10. Both the men and women going this morning. Volleyball just tipped off here at 11:30 over in the Noble Complex. I mean, you know why you're here, as you can see behind us. The football with their big matchup today with number 22 Harding, trying to get really a program-defining win, I feel like, today. And then we'll have a couple soccer games tonight to kind of cap off what should be an eventful day as every single fall sport's taking the field here at home. So always fun for the people in communications, but don't let us fool you. We might complain every now and then, but we do kind of live for these days every now and then.
Oh, yes. These are the fun ones.
These are fun.
This is really cool. I got to thinking as you were saying this and running down. Let's see, I have called a football game here before, more than one. I have called basketball games here before. No basketball going on, but we had a good visit with Brantley Thompson just a little bit earlier.
Yep.
I've called soccer games here for the Great American Conference. Never called a volleyball game here. And this, by the way, you mentioned volleyball. Man, how about the Lady Bison? They are just really lighting it up.
Yeah, they had won 12 in a row up until last night. Henderson kind of finally nipped them and ended their streak, but they've really been playing really well this year. Coach Anna Howe's doing just a phenomenal job with that team, and even despite kind of seeing that streak end, I think that's only going to push them going forward. But it's a great group of girls, and really looking forward to what they can do throughout the rest of this season, and then obviously heading into the postseason.
You know, to have a streak like that really does help a program. Of course, it pushes toward the conference tournament, and I would imagine really the big thing, you want to get a good seed in the conference tournament, and with the Central region being what it is in volleyball, and this Central region in volleyball, it's incredible. There more than half of the top 25 this week in the AVAC Volleyball Poland Division II are teams from the Central region. Did you know there are 7 other regions? You know, the less than 50% are made up of teams from the other 7 regions. So you really, you're just going to you want to get that playoff spot.
Well, and it really feels like it goes to a lot of different sports. I remember with Southern Nazarene last year in the Central region for basketball and how
yes.
crazy that was, and you were just talking about Northwest Missouri, the defending champions. But, yeah, volleyball it's just an insane region. Like, if you're able to get out of that regional and make it on, to the quarterfinals, semifinals, you got to think that's one of the favorites coming out. OBU earlier this year got to take on Nebraska Kearney, who's currently in the top 5 in the country, took them to 5 sets on their floor. So I think OBU has shown this year that they're going to be some contenders out there. They're going to go after some of these tough teams, but they also know they can't do like they did yesterday. They've got to bring their A game every single week.
Well, and it is tough to do that, but for 12 consecutive matches, you get the wins there. Speaking now with James Hill, and of course, so much going on today here in Shawnee. It's a nice day to be here. It's turned into something really nice. It was chilly this morning.
Sure.
And again, for those of you watching us in the other parts of the northern part of the MidwestSports.net regional footprint, I know chilly is relative.
Yeah.
Because it's downright cold where some of you all are in Iowa and Missouri and Nebraska, into even Kansas right now. But it's going to be in the high 50s, maybe 60 before it's said and done. Kickoff here at 1 o'clock, and we have some guys behind us that are getting ready to play.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really exciting day today. I think football now with 3 wins in a row has really kind of found their footing. The Southern Arkansas game was a heartbreaker. They could easily be 4-1 coming into this game, but that's just not how the ball turned for them. Austin Wilkerson had other plans in that game, but that's all right. They've bounced back, and what's so impressive with this team, as I was kind of doing game notes this week, doing some research for this week, OBU has trailed in all 5 games this year, and has trailed from the start. OBU has not been the team to score first in any game this season, which is probably surprising when you look at OBU's offense. This is a resilient bunch. If you see them fall behind 7-0, 14-0, 21-0, don't blink, because this team will continue to fight and get back into games, and they've done it the last 3 weeks. But on the other end of that, especially with a team like Harding and how they like to run the ball, you would love to see if OBU can get off to a hot start and see if they can get a lead, maintain a lead, and put a little pressure on the Bison in that rushing attack.
Todd Miller was here just a little bit earlier, the play-by-play voice of the Oklahoma Baptist Bison, and one of the things that he mentioned, he felt like that the Bison, can play with this team.
Yes.
But they're going to need to put together a near-perfect game.
I would think so, and they're really going to need some help on the defensive side of the ball, and they're really going to need their defense today to come up, make some stops, and really, as a former football player myself, anytime you're playing this option type of team, it's assignment football. You've got to do your job when you're facing a team like this. One hiccup, and that's a 60-yard touchdown. So you've got to play really good assignment football. You've got to do your reads. You've got to read well. You've got to tackle. You've got to tackle against this team.
No arm tackles on this one.
No, there's no arm tackling today. They've got to bring their man down and really stay strong, like I said, in their reads. And if they can do that, force some 3-and-outs maybe, force some stops on this Harding offense and get their offense the ball, because that's the other thing. Harding will maybe control the ball for 35, 40 minutes if they can and keep it out of Preston's hands if they can.
All right. Well, listen, I know you have a lot going on today. We're starting to wrap up here from Shawnee. Thank you, James, for letting us come up. And I do want to say thank you to James for all the work that he put in allowing us to be here today. And to Britton, got some good help from Britton a little bit earlier. To the athletic director here, Robert Davenport, on campus. Just want to say thank you to guys, because you all you put on a good show anyway. If you haven't ever had a chance to come watch an Oklahoma Baptist football game, I mean, of course, we're down here on the field relatively right now. We're just a few feet away from that. Very nice grass.
Absolutely.
Incredibly nice grass. This is not turf behind me right now. This is some incredibly nice grass. They put on a good show here, and I want to say thank you for letting us come up and have our show here. Really quickly, though, then before you go, okay, two things. I'll ask the same things that I asked Todd. Number one, prediction on the day.
Okay.
What do you think's going to happen today?
I'm going to say, first of all, it's going to be a lot of Bison wins today from all sports. Volleyball's going to get 1 in 3. Soccer's are going to get a few tonight, but I think when it regards and cross country,
I was going to say, do we have any results from cross country?
We don't,
yet?
but I'm sure the nationally ranked women's team had a good day as well as the men. As far as here today, though, I mean, I've got to say the upset, of course.
Okay,
and I'm going to say I think this is going to be a game. OBU offense is really, it's the top defense in the nation. I mean,
yes.
It's the best offense versus the best defense. It doesn't get more exciting than that. I'm going to say OBU gets a 24-21 win.
All right, 24-21. Okay.
24-21.
Well, and it was, hey, seriously, it is a good offense. It is a good defense. And, yes, okay, Bison fans, not Bison's fans, Bison fans, don't be upset. It would be an upset.
Oh, no doubt.
It would be an upset to get that win. However, you're looking at a 3-2 OBU team now. I mean, it's not like we're talking 0-5 coming against 4-1. This is a team that's picked up some wins and has been in every game.
Yes. You get a win today, because these next two games, because you got Ouachita the next week in Arkadelphia, it carries a lot of momentum going forward. So if they can it would be an upset. This is a nationally ranked team. This is a team that 2 years ago was in the NCAA semifinals with a chance to go to the national title game.
Right.
This is a team that went back to those NCAA playoffs this last year. This is a tremendous program. To get a win over Harding would not only be an upset today, it would be a huge win for this Bison program just going forward.
All right, last question then, because we're in the state of Oklahoma, and it is OU Texas Day. I appreciated the update. That came, by the way, a little bit earlier from James himself. Do we have any other score, and what's your take on this game?
Last I saw it was 7-0. Still OU. Still 7-0? Still 7-0.
Okay.
We verified.
Up to the minute right here on the MidwestSports.net channel.
We got the TVs over there so you can watch them. Again, if you come to a game, you have the tent over here to watch some other college football.
Tent City's a nice place.
Exactly. I think I said coming in, even though it's 7-0 right now, that OU's offense, Texas is beat up in the secondary. I don't think they can slow down OU's offense, and I think OU's defense has improved enough over last year to slow down Texas. So I said like 45-28 OU. They would cover the spread, and they would run away with it late in the game.
Okay, you have them covering. All right.
I do have them covering.
All right. I have them winning, but I think just because of the rivalry, I think it'll be tough to cover it, but as someone who has lived in Oklahoma for 40-plus years,
I
wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, and actually that probably makes more sense. Actually, if you look at the last few years, they've all been pretty close games. That is probably the better pick, is that Texas will indeed cover. But either way, I think OU comes away with a win.
All right. James, thank you very much. God
you guys
bless
are welcome
you.
back anytime.
Hey, we will come back, and we appreciate being here. We're going to wrap things up now here from Shawnee. Again, Midwest Sports Saturday, and we are, let's see now, we're looking at about an hour, 5 minutes from kickoff here as it's the Harding Bisons taking on the Oklahoma Baptist Bison. I want to give a shout-out, by the way, to Scott Good, the SID at Harding, and also to Billy Morgan, their play-by-play announcer. I know Billy would like to have been here today, and he was not able to, so a shout-out right there really quickly. I want to say thanks again to James, to Brantley, and to Todd for being with me today. I want to say thanks to the folks at the MIAA for providing the clips from MIAA Media Day, and we actually will get a chance to hear from Coach Hobson, the Fort Hays State women's basketball coach, next week on Midwest Sports Net, which will be coming to you. Fort Hays State is in the state of Kansas, and we will be in the state of Kansas. We're headed to Wichita next week to be on the campus of Friends University, so please tune in for that. More information over the course of the week. Watch us this week as Midwest Sports Now will be coming on. We'll have the Primetime 5 with our top 5 NAIA football moments from the week from our Midwest Sports area, and, well, lots and lots more with more news. I want to give a special thank you and a shout-out to Jolie McWilliams, who has made the trip for me today, and she is a part of the crew, and you can't really see what she's doing right now, but I can tell you that we are on the air because of what Jolie is doing. So the little bean is taking care of business, and I am appreciative to her for making the trip with me to Shawnee today. I'm Joey McWilliams. Thanks again for watching Midwest Sports Saturday. Please do click that subscribe button. We need those subscribers, and we are continuing to grow. So click that subscribe button, and we're thankful. God bless you all. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.